G'day. It's been a little while since I've sort of checked in. It's been absolute chaos in the workshop trying to keep up with all these projects, and shop's been busy too, which is really good. Heaps of new people coming through, so that's kept us well and truly run ragged. We've had the spray booth for about 4 weeks now, just laying on the floor in the workshop. I had to get a whole heap of ducting made for it, and didn't really realise that would take, a couple of weeks and things like that. So today's the day where we put the exhaust and everything up out of the roof. So got a couple of lads in today helping with that. So that's going to be awesome. I just can't wait to have that set up and working. Been pushing along with the big Chevy truck on weekends though. So there's heaps of stuff you haven't seen on that. We'll have a bit of a quick look at that and go from there. So the Chev truck, there's heaps of stuff I've done under the bonnet, but that bonnet is just sitting on there, so I'm just going to leave that on so it's nice and safe up out of the way today while we're moving around. But I got all the brake lines, master cylinder stuff done in the engine bay, all the Hydro Boost lines, got all that stuff done. What else? Pretty sure you've seen the tanks all fitted up. Got the Astra power steering pump on and all plumbed in, right up to the Hydro Boost as well as the power steering. A little bit more work on the sheet metal on the sleeper cab. We've got some stainless trims being laser cut and bent up for that. So yeah, really happy with the way the bonnet blocked out. Brendan did so much work to this bonnet to get the sides to flow, and he put a heap of reinforcing in the back, which sort of allowed the bonnet to hold its position on the cowl and just sort of be a lot stiffer and follow the sides a lot nicer. But yeah, absolutely wrapped with that. Getting better at blocking out fillers and polyesters and things like that. So that's got 3 coats of high build down the sides and 2 across the top, and that should block out a couple of minor imperfections and leave us with a really nice surface ready for paint. So it's looking like a thing. The F100 has been a really big part of my life recently. So I got all the timber tray all sorted out in that. That was a pretty big mission actually, because a lot of things had changed. Got dual batteries in there under the tray. Got the electric air conditioning compressor I should say. It's not a bloody 4-wheel drive. What else? Everything pretty much. Got all the seat belts installed, all the insides all insulated. You got the 90-degree brake booster set up, all installed. Got the aircon and heater unit tucked into that left-hand lower section there. Got all the heater lines plumbed up. Had to rework all of the wiper motor linkages. Made an assumption that because they were there, that they must have worked. No. Like everything else just about that comes in here, if it's been done somewhere else or in the past, it's just, crap. So they were binding and clunking and as loud as hell, so I had to reinvent pretty much everything about how they worked, and finish them off last night, Friday night, right at the end of the day. Sort of did a final run on them and was happy with them. So good to have that done. But today's mission is all about the spray booth. So this big pile here is apparently a paint booth, according to the instructions. So basically the biggest thing that we've been waiting on is we've got to get this filter box installed and get that up out the roof at 9 meters high. So we've been waiting on the ducting to arrive, and then we finally got the ducting, and then they forecast 1.5 inches of rain last weekend. Turns out that really didn't happen. We probably could have ripped into it last weekend, but it's a beautiful day here today, so I'm about to drag everything out, and then we'll make a start. So hang out. It's going to be a pretty crappy video. We'll just be doing stuff, putting spray booth and that up, but I wanted to show you a couple of the projects, and as I'm sort of walking around and get reminded of what else has been going on, we'll check in on those cars too. The fitment of the exhaust for the spray booth. It's a bit of a menagerie of shit going on at the moment, but we're making it happen. Well, the exhaust is through the roof. It is a thing. So we had to fold up all these sheets, get this big sucker through the roof 9 meters up. It's just all heaps of fun. G'day, we're back into the F100 for another day, working on the interior. Going back a couple of years ago, before this thing went out to paint, had already fabricated a sheet metal dash and console and a whole heap of trick door goodies that are all sort of ready to go and be leather wrapped. I'll spin the camera around and show you. So I've been really busy getting all the duct work and things like that for the aircon all sort of working. The dash was powder coated purely just to put a coating on it, so there was no surface rust going on. This entire dash is getting covered in foam and leather wrapped with some nice stitching and things like that, as will the console be. We're just working on some panels to cover up the evaporator box and the heater box and things like that. But it brings me to my next challenge. The windscreen is kind of like a flush mount and sealed by urethane, which, you know, is all good, but as with a lot of things on this truck, it was done, well, largely a lot of that was done back in the 90s when this truck was originally built, and yeah, to be honest, it was pretty crap. So I've got to make up a whole heap of trim pieces for this thing. A headliner insert so that we can have that leather wrapped. I've got to cover the A-pillars, that messy join from the top of the dash to the windscreen. Got to make some pieces that can be trimmed there. So that's what we're on to now. So I've just folded up some angle, about to take that over to the kick shrinker, and we've got a bit of a template worked out. So I've just got that cardboard trimmed to the shape of the windscreen. Now we'll take our angle over to the kick shrinker and see if we can get the shape right. Alright, so it's been a little while, probably about an hour, I suppose. Sort of been working that kick shrinker, and we'll just show you how that's coming along. So what I'm doing is making an infill piece that needs to follow the windscreen all the way around the top of the dash. Basically because when they did their sort of, flat glass deal back in the 90s, they just left a great big edge to the actual glass. So we need to make a piece to fill that in. That's just roughed in there at the moment. We'll make some cuts now and weld those three pieces together. Once that's welded together, we'll grind the welds down and 80 grit it, and we may look at running through the planishing hammer. It's going to get foamed and leather wrapped anyway, but I'm just a little bit worried about planishing that out and potentially stretching it more and changing the shape, because the shape is actually pretty well dialed right nicely to the glass. So just don't want to try and be too fancy and get to the end and find out that we've actually wrecked it, and then we've got to shrink it all back again. So we'll just see how it pans out, pans out once we get it all sanded up nice. It, like I said, it all gets covered in foam and leather anyway, so just keep it simple, I guess. Okay, so we got our curved infill pieces pretty well roughed in, bit of metal finishing, bit of 80 grit, smooth all them out. Like I said, they're getting foamed and leather wrapped anyway, so we won't take that too far. I've got to work out some little hold downs, but I've got a bit of a plan for that. That gets us onto our next bit, which is we need to make some A-pillar covers. So I've just worked on a template, and we'll check that out on the bench now. So I just used a bit of stiff white cardboard and knocked out a couple of templates. So that's our template there. We've got that marked out on some sheet metal. Put a bit of a fold in that now and see how it fits. So I just got the left-hand A-pillar cover made up. That didn't really take that long. Probably, I don't know, half hour, 40 minutes or something like that to sort of get it dialed in. It'll tuck in under the pinch weld, and then it'll also be held by the pieces that I've got to make for the roof. So that's the A-pillar cover. It's tucked right in up to the glass, hard up against the A-pillar the whole way down, and the gap here in the corner is deliberate because there'll be 5mm of foam packing that top piece and vinyl, so you don't want to make it too tight, or once it's covered it won't fit back in the hole. Well, it's been a couple of days. We had a massive Saturday in the workshop working on the booth. Didn't get up to too much yesterday other than a bit of a cruise in the black truck with my beautiful wife. That was pretty cool, just to get out and about and see the ocean and just enjoy the car for a bit. But fair bit of couch time yesterday. Saturday was huge, and I was paying for it. So we'll have a bit of a look at what we got up to. So apologies for the darkness in here. We haven't got the power hooked up yet, but we got all the infrared lights down the sides of the booth. We took the filter, I don't know what you even call them, they look like bloody cattle gates to me, but anyway, we took those out of the roof. All the roof's on now, but I had to cut out sections for the big fans to go in the roof, and I didn't want all that metal falling into the filters. So we've got all our lights up in the corners there now. We've got some panel lights coming today to go down both sides of the booth. Potentially even the back wall. I just haven't quite decided on that yet. I probably don't think that'd be necessary. But then again, my eyes are only getting older, and the more we can do to be able to see will definitely help out. So you can see up on the roof, there's two of those fan boxes that go up there. Of course, it's not just as simple as putting them on there, as I had to fold up boxes for them to sit in, and I've still got to get up there and seal those boxes. I just didn't have any roof and gutter sealant to do that on Saturday, and wanted to keep sort of pushing on. Come under the F100 here with me. So we've got the side door all sorted out with its pressure latches. So that's pretty cool. That just latches there and holds tight. Oh, that's the other thing we got done. We got all the door seals put on, all the doors, and sort of adjusted the doors up on the front as best I could. The booth's pretty damn square, which surprised me because it was a fairly wobbly thing to try and keep square putting it up, but the floor in this workshop isn't the flattest, and of course it's at its worst right where the doors are. So I was thinking I'll probably just make up a piece of heavy RHS with some foam wrapped around the outside and just sort of kick that on the front, when we are sort of working in there, just in case it did want to draw anything through the front. But other than that, the rest of the doors seem to seal really well. So we did some sealant work all around the edge of the roof to make sure that was all good. I don't know how crazy to go with sealing things, to be honest, because all the panels click together and everything else sort of sits really nice. So might do some around the bottom edge where it joins the concrete, make sure that's all sealed up. But I guess, you've also got to think that one day we will have to probably pull this thing down. Hopefully not for at least 10 years, but we actually need to be able to pull this thing down one day.
Well, it's another day working on the F100, so we'll have a bit of a look at what's been going on. Just sort of been making up some really tricky interior panels that we'll be setting out to get the leather wrapped.
So I've made both the A-pillar panels now. So left and right side's all done, and previously made these windscreen trims that wrap around the windscreen that you saw before. We've used some panel bond to adhere some tags to the top of the dash, and they'll have trim plugs going through them to fix those strips that we've made there. Now, what else have we got going on?
So I've also been making these pieces that will become part of the headliner. So this is one of those pieces there. It was fairly tricky shape to make, actually, but it goes. This one's the driver's side, so that clicks up there. It's just got a cutout for where the sun visors will go, but this piece here will cap that front section of windscreen, and what will happen is this panel that I've got to make that comes down the roof will tuck underneath that, and that'll give us a nice edge to finish the leather across there. So I've just got one more to do. I've already cut that out this morning. I've just spread a bit of body filler on that, and I'll hit that with a sander, just so that we've got a nice surface for the leather to lay down on without any lumps and bumps, and should look good. I mean, the foam the foam would take it up anyway, but just go that little extra mile, and hopefully it pays off when it's all wrapped. So that's the one that I've just finished making this morning. Just a bit of body filler on that now, just waiting for that to set up, and then we'll sand that down and get some paint on that one. Also, the old after hours spray booth build continues. Made massive progress on that though, so hopefully in the next video we'll be able to show you that all turned on and functioning. So a mate of mine, Brock, got me some LED lights to mount down the walls. So got a few of those in last night, one more to sit in there, and then I've got another 4 to go down this wall. But that's all going really well, and definitely looking forward to being able to get some paint happening on this big Chevy truck over Christmas. That's going to be awesome to be able to do that in-house. Anyway, thanks for hanging out and sitting through what's been probably another fairly messy video with all the bits and pieces that go on, but that's pretty much my life. Yeah, got to keep the customer builds going to pay for all this stuff. So anyway, thanks a lot. Catch you later.